Since the 1930s, firearms and firearm owners have been regulated with so-called gun control measures that limit where, when, and how a firearm can be carried, as well as the type, size, and function of firearms. While some claim that these measures are designed to prevent crime and save lives, others have shown that over the years, these gun control measures have not only been ineffective in their primary purpose, but actually have caused further harm to innocent American citizens. Gun control legislation began with the passage of the 1934 National Firearms Act. It was designed to stop the Prohibition-era gangsters who used Thompson submachine guns in their gang wars, according to Leslie Rusnick of the National Rifle Association. Restrictions have grown over the years, and now the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and countless other federal, state, and local agencies limit the ownership, purchase, possession, and use of firearms. Current federal laws make it illegal for anyone convicted of a felony to own, possess, or even attempt to possess a firearm of any kind. The FBI maintains a record of everyone who has ever been convicted of a felony, and red flags their name. In order to purchase a new firearm from a dealer, every person must pass the FBI background check. Only after passing this background check can the individual take possession of their new firearm. While background checks are not required at the federal level for person-to-person transfers, it is not only illegal for a felon to purchase a firearm this way, but it is also illegal to sell it to a felon. For anyone who wants to buy a firearm through a dealer, even after passing the FBI background check, many states require citizens to wait several days, even up to an entire month, to take possession of their firearm. Once the individual takes possession of their firearm, they must now follow federal and state-specific laws regarding the carrying and use of that firearm. According to usacarry.com, a concealed carry information hub, in all but 13 states and territories, eligible citizens are given the right to carry their firearm in their homes and cars and on their person after passing yet another background check, which they apply for in the form of a concealed carry permit. Most states require a thorough background check and payment of fees annually, and they impose strict limitations on where and when citizens may carry the firearm. Now, some of these restrictions may make sense at first glance, since they were sold as a way to combat crime with firearms. But the opposite is true. They do not limit crime, and in fact they limit the ability of law-abiding citizens to defend themselves. Think logically. Criminals break the law. They don't care what the law says about ATF background checks or state-issued concealed carry permits. They're going to do what they want to do, when and where they want to do it, and no law is going to stop them. In places where firearms have been banned to prevent crime, the crime rate has actually increased in most cases. After firearms were banned in England and Wales, according to the Crime Prevention Research Center, the homicide rate increased 50% immediately. According to data compiled by JustFacts.com, Washington, D.C. murder rate averaged 73% higher during the years that a handgun ban was in effect, while the national average decreased 11% during the same time frame. After the law was struck down in 2008, the murder rates have dropped significantly. In Chicago, Illinois, a handgun ban was in effect from 1982 until it was repealed in 2010. During that time, murders involving a firearm increased an average of 40%. According to JustFacts.com, in 2005, 96% of firearm murders in Chicago were killed with handguns, which were illegal at the time. Overall, when firearms are restricted and fewer citizens are allowed to possess and carry their firearms, crimes, including violent crimes and murders, increase substantially. Part of the plan to restrict firearm possession, supposedly in an attempt to prevent crime, is the installation of gun-free zones. Gun-free zones can be seen on college campuses, daycare centers, police stations, churches, and other locations as deemed sensitive by legislators and business owners. When a citizen receives their concealed carry permit, they are bound by law to follow posted signs and not carry their firearms. In theory, if no guns are allowed, there should be no crime, right? Unfortunately, this is not the case. According to the Crime Prevention Research Center, 92% of mass shootings occurred where firearms were not permitted in these so-called gun-free zones. The researchers have found that attackers avoid those places where victims can defend themselves. To quote John Lott, lead researcher at the Crime Prevention Research Center, concealed carry permit holders have stopped attacks at schools and other places before police arrived. This includes shootings at Pearl, Mississippi and Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, and colleges like the Appalachian Law School in Virginia. It has happened in busy downtowns such as Memphis, in churches such as New Life Church in Colorado Springs, in malls in Portland, Oregon, and Salt Lake City, and outside an apartment building in Oklahoma. To better defend ourselves, people should be allowed to carry privately owned firearms, not only in their homes, but in public. We should stop limiting the places vetted permit holders can carry, and we should encourage greater participation. We should take our friends, family, co-workers to the range and educate them on responsible gun ownership. If we work together to spread the facts about carrying of firearms and work with legislators and police agencies, we can make positive change and allow our citizenry to responsibly carry. While they were sold as methods to prevent violent crime, gun control measures often have had the opposite effect on the citizenry. Federal, state, and local laws restrict the ownership, possession, sale, transfer, use, and concealed carry of firearms, but often do not actually stop or prevent crime. Statistics have shown over and over again that an increase in private ownership of firearms, both at home and in public, allows citizens to defend themselves and their families and prevent mass shootings that often take dozens of lives.